Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Alsha, and I'm the Chairman of Cardno Limited. On behalf of the board and staff of Cardno, I welcome all our shareholders who have made time to attend today's extraordinary general meeting. In the spirit of reconciliation, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We pay our respect to their elders past, present, and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. As it is now 10 a.m. and the company secretaries have advised me that a quorum is present, I formally declare this extraordinary general meeting open. I would like to start by introducing the board of directors present at the meeting today. In the same way that we've asked shareholders to observe COVID-19 safe measures and travel restrictions, the board is separately located in Brisbane, Sydney, and the United States today. Ms. Susan Rees-Ward, Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director, Ms. Rebecca Ranich, an Independent Non-Executive Director and member of the Remuneration Committee, Mr. Stephen Sherman, an Independent Non-Executive Director, a member of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee and a member of the Remuneration Committee, Mr. Jeffrey Forbes, an Independent Non-Executive Director, Chair of the Audit, Risk and Compliance Committee and a member of the Remuneration Committee, and Mr. Nathaniel Thompson, a Non-Executive Director and member of the Remuneration Committee. Also in attendance today is our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Peter Barker, and members of Cardno's global management team, including Susan Rees-Ward, who is also our America CEO, Jamie Alonso, our Asia Pac CEO, and Seth Yoskowitz, Interim CEO of Cardno's International Development Division. We also welcome Mr. Tim Gordon from our legal advisory firm, Gilbert & Tobin. On the 9th of June 2021, the company commenced a strategic review process which involved an assessment of Cardno's strategic options and the alternative strategies available to unlock and enhance value for shareholders. On 21 October 2021, the company announced it had entered into share purchase agreements to sell its entire interest in its Americas and Asia Pacific consulting divisions to related entities of Stantec Incorporated for an aggregated price of US $500 million, or approximately $667 million in Australian dollars. The sale was the result of an extensive international strategic review that was focused on ensuring that the company unlocked the maximum value for shareholders. This meeting has been requisitioned in order for shareholders to vote on three important resolutions. As set out in detail in the notice of meeting, these are: 1, the disposal of the company's main undertaking, being the sale of the company's Americas and Asia Pacific consulting businesses to related entities of Stantec. 2, subject to Resolution 1, receiving shareholder approval, a return of capital to shareholders of up to 92 cents per share. And 3, subject to Resolution 1 and Resolution 2 receiving shareholder approval, a consolidation of ordinary shares. The board unanimously recommends that shareholders vote in favour of all three resolutions. The board believes that following an assessment of the advantages and disadvantages as set out in the notice of meeting distributed to shareholders on the 4th of November 2021, the disposal of the company's main undertaking is in the best interests of the company. The board takes great comfort in having achieved full price discovery by running a competitive and robust sale process and then announcing the recommendation of a sale to related entities of Stantec, knowing that no superior proposal has arisen since that announcement. If shareholder approval for the sale is received, the conditions are satisfied and the sale is completed. The company intends to remain an ASX-listed company and continue to operate its engineering consulting businesses through its remaining international development and Latin American group companies. The board will continue the wind down of its non-Cardno Latin American operations, which is expected to be completed by December 2022, and continue to evaluate strategic options related to the international development business over the next 12 months. Before we proceed with the formal business of the meeting, I'd like to acknowledge the collective efforts of the Cardno board and senior management team and our financial and legal advisors in today's achievement. On behalf of the board, I'd also like to thank everyone at Cardno for their hard work and dedication over the years and extend my thanks and appreciation to our shareholders for their ongoing support. There are a number of procedural matters which I'd like to bring to your attention before we begin the formal items of business. To enhance good corporate governance and transparency, I intend to conduct a poll vote on each of the resolutions for the meeting. I will read out each item of business in turn, take questions on that item of business, and then put the resolution to the meeting. Once all votes have been cast online for the poll, the meeting will be closed. The results of the poll will be released to the ASX not long after the meeting has closed. In respect of voting at today's meeting, on a poll, each member present online or their proxy, attorney, or corporate representative has one vote for each share held. Only one vote is allowed per joint shareholding. If more than one joint holder tenders a vote, the vote of the member named first in the register must be accepted to the exclusion of the others. If a proxy has been directed to vote in a particular manner, if the proxy is entitled to vote, he or she must vote in accordance with that direction. And for some items of business, certain votes will be disregarded, as explained in the voting exclusion statements in the notice of meeting. As chair of this meeting, I advise that I intend to vote all undirected proxies in favour of all the resolutions. Online attendees can submit questions at any time. To ask a question, select the messaging tab at the top of the Lumi platform. At the top of that tab, there is a section for you to type your question. Once you have finished typing, please hit the arrow symbol to send. Please note that while you can submit questions from now on, I will not address them until the relevant time in the meeting. Please also note that your questions may be moderated, or if we receive multiple questions on one topic, amalgamated together. For those shareholders who wish to ask a verbal question, an audio questions facility is available during this meeting. To use this service, please pause the broadcast on the Lumi platform and then click on the link under Asking Audio Questions. A new page will open where you'll be prompted to enter your name and the topic of your question before being connected. You will listen to the meeting on this page while waiting to ask your question. If you have any issues on using the system, please return to the Lumi platform. Finally, due to time constraints, we may not get to answer all your questions. If this happens, we will answer them in due course via email or by posting responses on our website. Voting today will be conducted by way of a poll on all items of business. To provide you with enough time to vote, I will shortly open voting for all resolutions. At that time, if you are eligible to vote at this meeting, a new voting tab will appear. Selecting this tab will bring up a list of resolutions and present you with voting options. To cast your vote, simply select one of the options. There is no need to hit a submit or enter button as the vote is automatically recorded. You do, however, have the ability to change your vote up until the time I declare voting closed. I now declare voting open on all items of business. The voting tab will soon appear. Please submit your votes at any time. I will give you a warning before I move to close voting. Jessie Yerma from Computershare will act as returning officer for the purpose of conducting and determining the results of the poll, the results of which will be announced to the ASX once final results are known. The voting icon should soon appear if it hasn't already. Please submit your votes anytime from now until the resolutions have been read. If you are having any difficulties in locating the voting icon, please refer to the detailed guides available on our website. Turning now to proxy votes. Proxies have been received from 240 shareholders representing 305,567,537 ordinary voting shares, being 78.23% of Cardno's issued share capital. After discussion of each resolution and prior to voting, I will advise you of the proxy votes for that resolution. The proxy results will be shown on the presentation. The notice of meeting was dispatched to all shareholders. If there is no objection, I propose that the notice of meeting be taken as read. We will begin with the formal resolutions as listed in the notice of meeting. Questions related directly to a particular item of business will be invited before each resolution is put to the meeting. Resolution 1, disposal of main undertaking. Disposal of the company's Americas and Asia Pacific consulting businesses is item 1 of the notice of meeting. The terms of the disposal as outlined within the explanatory memorandum accompanying the notice of meeting. Resolution 1 seeks approval that for the purposes of Listing Rule 11.2 and for all other purposes, approval is given for the disposal of the company's Americas and Asia Pacific consulting businesses, being together the main undertaking of the company by way of share sale to Mustang Acquisition Holdings Incorporated and Stantec Australia Proprietary Limited, respectively, in accordance with the terms of the share purchase agreements described in the explanatory memorandum. The proxies received on this resolution prior to the commencement of the meeting are displayed on your screen. Sheree, are there any questions on this resolution?
No, Michael, there are no questions on resolution 1.
As there are no questions, this resolution is now put to the meeting. Item 2, return of capital to shareholders. The proposed return of capital to shareholders is item 2 of the notice of meeting. The details of the proposed return of capital to shareholders are as contained within the explanatory memorandum, which has accompanied the notice of meeting. Resolution 2 seeks approval that, subject to Resolution 1 being passed and completion occurring under the share purchase agreements, the issued share capital of the company be reduced by up to $360 million in accordance with sections 256B and 256C of the Corporations Act, and that capital reduction is to be effected, subject to the board's discretion, by the company paying each shareholder the amount of up to 92 cents per share on the terms and conditions set out in the explanatory memorandum. The proxies received on this resolution prior to the commencement of the meeting are displayed on your screen. Sheree, are there any questions on this resolution?
No, Michael, there's no questions on resolution 2.
As there are no questions, this resolution is now put to the meeting. Item 3, consolidation of ordinary shares. The proposed consolidation of ordinary shares is item 3 of the notice of meeting. The details of the proposed consolidation of ordinary shares are as contained within the explanatory memorandum, which accompanied the notice of meeting. Resolution 3 seeks approval that, subject to Resolution 1 and Resolution 2 being passed, for the purposes of Section 254H of the Corporations Act, the company's constitution, and for all other purpose, approval is given to undertake the consolidation on the basis that A, every 10 shares held by a shareholder be consolidated into 1 share. B, all convertible securities on issue be adjusted in accordance with Listing Rule 7.21. And C, where the consolidation results in a fraction of a share being held by a shareholder, the company be authorised to round that fraction up to the nearest whole share. The consolidation will take effect from the first trading day after completion to the payment to shareholders of the distribution as described in Resolution 2. The proxies received on this resolution, as just announced, prior to the commencement of the meeting are displayed on your screen. Sheree, are there any questions on this resolution?
No, Michael, there are no questions on resolution 3.
As there are no questions, this resolution is now put to the meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings the formal business of the meeting to an end. In a moment, I'll close the voting system. Please ensure that you've cast your vote on all resolutions. I will now pause for a few moments to allow you time to finalise your votes. Sheree, are there any final questions?
No, Michael, no questions have come in.
I'll now pause for a few moments. As there are no further questions, I declare the poll closed and confirm the final results will be announced via the ASX later today. There being no further questions, that concludes today's EGM. If we didn't answer any questions fully, or you would like us to go into further detail, please do not hesitate to contact us after the meeting. As there is no further business, I now declare this extraordinary general meeting closed, and thank you for your attendance today.